Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We're on episode 4 of Modao Zushi. So after this episode, we are halfway through the season. These last 2 episodes have been so good. I don't know. There's so much intrigue. There's so much mystery. I have all these theories bouncing around in my head. Everyone is sus. Everyone's suspect. No one is safe. And in the midst of all of this, we have a few things that have come to light. One, WuXian is afraid, terrified of dogs, rightfully so from his past experience. The moment where he jumps into Wangji's arms and Wangji, like, you know he's internally screaming, like... but also, there's this interesting game going on in this show right now of who can't tell who what. So, like, Wangji is subtly, or not so subtly for the audience, but subtly trying to give WuXian hints that, hey, I know that you're back. I know you're in Mo Jianyu's body. Get the hint. Like, he's trying to tell him without actually telling him, you know, trying to ease him into that knowledge, it seems. WuXian, I felt really bad for WuXian last episode because Ling, bless his heart, like, he only has Cheng as his family mentor, and Cheng is a lonely, angsty man right now. He's like the personification of angst, I'm sure. And so WuXian, like, you can tell WuXian wants to talk to Ling because it's weird. It's both his figurative and literal nephew. Like, literal because it's Shan Yu's actual biological nephew, but also it's literally, like, figuratively his nephew, like him and Cheng. Like, so you can tell WuXian wants to be part of that family, but he can't. But he cannot because he's in somebody else's body, and he doesn't want to give himself away. So, and it seems like, oh man, this whole bird, this Ni clan leader, Yao, this new guy, this Zhao that they've just talked about, like, there's so many webs and so many plots and so many threads being everywhere that I'm like, it seems like there's more questions being asked than there are answers at this point. And I'm assuming that by the end of this season, there are going to be some answers, but probably more questions too, because what else are you leading into season 3 with? And I find the fact that this Zhao guy was a disciple of Boshan Sangren, which is, you know, related to WuXian, I find that very intriguing. And we're talking about demonic cultivation, and the Sangrens were kind of known for being able to, like, affect cores and things like that. So it's all quite interesting, and I don't know what to think about it. Every episode this season has been just, like, building off. It's just gotten better and better with each episode, and I know that there's still pain to come because we haven't got Yanli's death, we haven't got WuXian's death. Like, I'm assuming they're going to show us that in flashbacks. Maybe not. But the novel definitely would talk about it. But, oh guys, I can't believe that this is going to mark the halfway point for season 2. How? How indeed. So, alright. I've rambled enough. We're going to start episode 4 here, guys, and see what shenanigans our detectives are going to get themselves into. Like, we've got all these talks about... It's funny because we've got talks about this resentful energy and resentful energy being trapped and resentful energy being placed throughout. And it's all... Everything is so convenient and coincidental to align with when WuXian's come back into Mo Jianyu's body. Like, something is up with the Jin clan. I know it. And I just... it's like, ugh. And I feel bad because Ling is part of the Jin clan. And it's like... something just doesn't sound... Something is rotten in the state of Denmark, damn it. And so, I guess we'll figure out what it is. But, alright guys, let's do this. We're going to do episode 4 of Modao Zushi, season 2, here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Oh my god, you guys! Okay, no, that was not okay. That whole episode was not okay. Nope, 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 not at all. No Cornetto ads for this time, because we ain't got time for that. Oh, damn it. Oh. My computer's like going crazy, as I am, because what the heck, Modao Zushi, what the heck? We didn't really dig deeper into the mystery of this, but we're getting more context about Yanli and about Ling and Zishuan and Cheng. God, and Cheng was absent from the whole hunt, so I'm assuming he was dealing with other stuff that was like with the the Zhang clan and all of that. I'm assuming he was dealing with some other stuff. But I have thought, this tied back to a lot of episode 2 in season 1. This tied back to a lot of that. And I'm really curious because I had in the timeline, like in my head, I thought that I guess in my head I was imagining in the timeline of things that Yanli's death and Jin Ling's birth were very, very close, which it seems like they were. But I thought that WuXian died like right after she did. Because they kept saying it's WuXian's fault that she died. So I'm like, okay, well if it's his fault that she died, and it's his fault that her husband died, then that must have been right before WuXian died, because there's no way in hell that Cheng let him live for years and years if WuXian was the one that killed her. Like, no way! No way, right? Unless WuXian went into hiding or something, which could be the case. It could be that after Yanli died, that he went into hiding, and maybe that's why he kind of snuck back to Lotus Pier to see Ling. But I just can't imagine Cheng letting him live that long after Yanli's death if WuXian was responsible for it. I just can't see that. And so it threw me for a loop when we saw WuXian with baby Ling, like little toddler Ling. Like, it threw me for a loop because I'm like, unless this is all a hallucination, unless it's all a dream and it's not real. I mean, we've established WuXian's an unreliable narrator, but this is definitely a moment that I'm really excited to read the novel, because I want to see this expanded more in the novel. And I love that end credit scene, because the whole time it seems like, well, they don't really seem like they're getting along. So how do they end up being this loving family like that WuXian sees with baby Ling? Like, how does that work? And then come to find out that Zishuan, like, that was his moment where he's like, no, I invited you to come because I want you to be here. And, like, he admitted that he liked her and get all flustered and embarrassed by it. And she took that. She liked that. She was like, oh, well, you did admit that you wanted me to be here. And you do like me. And you admitted that in front of everybody. And it's like, oh. It's interesting to see the Mama Jin, the Jin clan leader mom. Like, he looks a lot like her. And Ling looks a lot like her, too. Ling is a really cool combination of his parents. Like, he looks like both of them. Like, he has her big eyes, but they're kind of also, like, his features are kind of like Zishuan. And in that flashback, it seems like Jin is born a few years even after that, because, or Ling is, I always call him Jin, but Ling is born a few years after that, because in the flashback, WuXian sees, and Yanli and Zishuan look older, like they're in their 20s. Like, they're not teenagers anymore when they had Ling. So, this was sad. Like, really sad. Like, the WuXian having to deal with, because it's so clear that WuXian loved Yanli. Like, his sister stood up for him in front of clans and everything. Like, she respected him and stood up for him and loved him, even though he wasn't her biological brother. And I can't believe that he would be the cause of her death. I don't see how that is. And then there's a moment, because he's sucking the poison out of Ling's wound, and so, oh god, that point when he looks at his hand and it's bloody. But he's sucking the poison out of Ling's wound, kind of like with that same hand that's bloody, and then everything, like, he starts to hallucinate because he's absorbing the curse, right? And Zishuan says something to him, like he's bleeding, like he's been stabbed to the chest, and he's saying something, and we can't hear what he says. But it doesn't look like he's mad at WuXian. He's not mad at him when he speaks. He just says something, and it almost looks like he's, like, relieved that WuXian's there. And WuXian's like, no, don't. Like, he doesn't want to see this. And the blood on the lotus, like, that was so creepy and awful. And okay, we see the sword stab her, but we've already established WuXian doesn't carry a sword. So, if WuXian doesn't carry a sword, how can he stab her? I don't like it. I don't like it. So, sus. The fact that we had this flashback and WuXian established that he doesn't carry a sword because he didn't need it, and we saw Yanli get stabbed with a sword, so it wasn't him that killed her. But, oh man, Cheng would have to come. Like, this whole time when Wangji and them were originally there, I was like, oh, Cheng's gonna show up because it's Ling, and because Ling's like his only family left, and you know, that's what's gonna happen. And then we didn't have that for a long time, and I thought, okay, we got out scot-free. No. Mm-mm. And oh my god, we shouldn't have to explain to Ling that his parents, like, that they're dead. Like, that's just so sad. And like, oh, they're at a faraway place, but I'll take you to them. It's like, mm-hmm. And then, oh my god, like, just Zidian. And the idea that, God, and Cheng has like such glee on his face. He's like, oh, I've caught you. And I'm like, it's the worst thing because WuXian saved Ling's life just now. And you show up at the worst time. And it's like, oh God, no. I'm sure the next episode WuXian is going to like deny it and be like, I'm not him. And then Wangji's going to show up at the last minute, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. But, okay. So we didn't get a lot of questions answered in this. But we did have a few things established. Okay, why is WuXian in the woods? He didn't bring the bird with him. I thought at the beginning that dog barking was the bird. Because the bird seems kind of like a recorder or a mockingbird. Like it's making noises and it's like kind of distorted. So I thought for a second that WuXian brought the bird with him to distract them and throw them off. But he didn't because the bird's still there? So confused. And it shows, okay, so Jishin and Yao we're going to where the Ni clan is. And that's when they find out that WuXian's been gone. And he's been absent for a while. And they don't know where he is. And then we see that bird is still there. So, because I wondered for a while if the Ni clan leader and Yao were working together, and they could still be. The Yao guy could just be putting up a good front and being like, interesting, he's gone. But guys, like, this episode didn't do a lot of answering questions, but it's connecting the dots with a lot of previous moments that we've seen from different perspectives. So the idea of Yanli defending herself, and now it's funny because we go back and we have these moments kind of overlapping and connecting, and it's funny because now we have more context. Like after episode 2, we have more context that the uncle that was there, and some of the uncle's text is overlapping in the moment, like when they did the spiritual inquiry in episode 2, and the uncle was like, oh, you're arrogant and this and this and this. It was repeated in this episode with Yanli, but that wasn't the same moment that the spiritual inquiry brought up later that showed Ning attacking. So, we still don't have the woman in red, which could be Yanli. Maybe we'll have another flashback in the future showing her getting married. I mean, it's very clear that WuXian does not like the Jin guy, which is hilarious because now he's in a Jin. I know it's a Mo family, but it's technically an off of the Jin family in one of their bodies. So, I don't know how. I guess these are the man-eating castles that swallowed Ling up because Ling wasn't as experienced to handle it. And that's what happened. And then it was keeping the dogs out by the type of energy it has. I feel it's interesting that WuXian's affected in the castle by the resentful energy, and Wangji doesn't seem to notice it. But that just could be good. That could be because WuXian has he's got demonic cultivation and the demonic arts, so he handles that resentful energy in a different way than Wangji. But oh man, I like that flashback of Yanli defending him was in fact the snake hunt that they were talking about in episode 2 as well, and that's how Wangji was like, you know about that random hunt? And WuXian's like, oh yeah, I just heard about it. You know, it was not like I was actually there. Which now is very suspicious in favor of Wangji because, like, how do you remember that specific hunt, right? Because there only seemed to be Jin clan leaders and Jin clan members and Wangji and WuXian and Yanli there. So I also find it funny that the Jin Patriarch is not present during the hunts. Like, Zishuan's dad is not there. He's just, like, loitering around with all his mistresses back at the Jin clan, and it's the Jin mother, the matriarch, that has to go in and do her thing and join them on the hunt. I find that interesting. Very much so. But there's still the idea of this coffin. The coffin that looks very nice, that is hiding a sword. And why is it hiding a sword with a lot of energy around it? Just why? There's little things like that in this episode that I'm like, okay, why was Hui Sang out there? Why didn't he bring the bird? Why was there a sword in a coffin? What's up with this man-eating castle? Cheng... Oh, gosh. This episode, you guys warned me. These episodes are cutting off at, like, the worst time. And now I'm so curious. I'm like, come on, show. How dare you? How dare you? Because it's like, this episode and episode 2 have a lot of parallels, I've noticed. Especially with the endings, like Cheng showing up at the ending of both of them, like, great, you're going to just mess this up. And Wu on Patreon, she noted in the Discord a little while back, we were talking about this episode. We were talking about episode 3. But the idea that Cheng is so lonely, like he's just lonely and only has his angst because he doesn't have a sister or his parents. He hates WuXian, but WuXian's been dead all these years, so he doesn't even have a foster brother. He's just been alone, except for Ling. And it's sad because he's just a lonely older man at this point. And also the idea that these souls that are in this man-eating castle have no clue about the man-eating castle. It's almost like they were just plucked and put there. The souls were put there, which is intriguing. So still lots of questions, y'all, but this episode was so sad. Like, just I have a feeling when we find out the actual death of Yanli, it's going to be really bad. Like, I'm just bracing myself for it because this is but it's making me think, if WuXian's not had the sword around him, then who killed these people? Who did it if it wasn't WuXian, right? Curiouser and curiouser, y'all. But in any case, I am super curious to know what you guys thought of this episode and your comments down below. Please, no spoilers, but this was a really good episode, but now I just want to know what happens next. And we've got to wait a week. In the meantime, I hope you all have a good week. Stay safe, take care, and yeah, I will be back next week. God, we gotta deal with Cheng. Hopefully Wangji shows up, but I don't know. But we'll see what happens next week with episode 5 of Mo Dao Zushi. Bye.